Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Newsbeat here on Metro TV with me, Desmond Okweku Danso. This bulletin is also live on DSTV channel 277 and on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. Let's take a look at our headlines this afternoon. Coming up this afternoon, hundreds of VCG customers in parts of the country stranded in long queues due to their inability to purchase prepaid credit. We'll take you to the affected places. And also coming up, we get to talk about the cocoa industry and the Tano municipality, some illegal mining concerns from there. And about 174 Indonesian footballers have been killed. Football fans actually have been killed in a football game yesterday. We'll bring you details on that. And also, we will go to Burkina Faso and bring you some details from the earlier junta issues that happened this week. These are many more coming up this afternoon. And we're taking a break. When we come back, we get into the details of the story right here on Metro Television. Please do stay. Welcome back from the break. Now let's get into our first story. And the 2021 audit report says 21 MMDAs paid over 4 million cedis to contractors for no work done, whilst about 80% of the assemblies spent more than their budget at the Ghana Strengthening Accountability Mechanisms Lessons Learned Conference in terms a consortium of non-governmental organizations and 25 civil society groups urged government to institutionalize performance audit as a catalyst to drive development at the local government level. This was held in Tema.
The 2021 Local Government Audit Report made some damning revelations of misappropriation in some MMDAs. The audit report revealed that 21 MMDAs paid over 4 million cedis to contractors for no work done, whilst about 80% of the assemblies spent more than their budgets. This, among other revelations of misappropriation of the public fund, the CSO say must be addressed using lessons learned from the Ghana Strengthening Accountability Mechanisms. The GSAM, a project that seeks to strengthen citizens' oversight of capital projects to improve local government transparency, accountability and performance in 100 districts in Ghana in the past 8 years, showed improved accountability in those districts. A local government expert, Dr. Esther Ofei-Abuaji, speaking on promoting accountability in public service delivery at the GSAM Lessons Learned Conference, noted that a lot of efforts have been made in that regard. However, citizens' participation in local government needs to be strengthened to ensure social accountability.
Things are done for the citizen, at the citizen, on behalf of the citizen, rather than with the citizen. Technical terms report relating to project implementation processes, service delivery standards, and so on are used, and they do not appear to manifest in the end of responsive, effective, and equitable services for all citizens. Even such efforts as putting owners, the citizens as owners in the driving seat of accountability processes, such as the presiding member receiving internal audit reports, have had limited effects on inclusive decision-making and governance.
The Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Dan Butchie, in a speech read for him, pledged to work with the CSOs and other stakeholders to strengthen accountability in local government.
This achievement is corroborated by the results from our annual performance-based assessment of the MMDAs using the District Assembly's Performance Assessment Tool, where all the 261 MMDAs assessed in 2020 and 2021 had presented their Auditor General's reports to the General Assembly.
The U.S. Aid Mission Director, Kimberly Rosen, reaffirmed the U.S. government's support for the government of Ghana to improve the delivery of quality services with increased accountability.
Now, 58 persons have successfully filed their nomination forms to contest respective positions in the Otusenya East constituency for the NDC. This happens to be the largest number of aspirants in the party's history since the creation of the constituency in 2012. Party executives have pledged to treat all aspirants equally. Central Regional Correspondent Akusiado has more in the following report.
42 aspirants out of the number are males, whilst the remaining 16 are females. The number is made up of both incumbent and fresh candidates. The party says this is the largest record in its internal elections history since the creation of the constituency in the year 2012. Party officials say this shows how attractive the party has become. Even though the party has tasted no success in parliamentary elections, it continues to advance the number of votes it obtains. As part of its reorganization and mobilization process ahead of the next general election, these aspirants have successfully filed to contest for respective positions in the party. So far, 21 out of the number have been successfully vetted and cleared to contest, with the remainder yet to go through the process. The party's constituency secretary, Amadou Torik, says all candidates will be treated equally.
Out of 2,619 delegates, we equally have 28 constituency executives, and then 4 national and regional reps, be it 1 regional women organizer, 2 NEC members, and then the former MC. We first of all set up an election committee headed by the former MC, Honorable Antony. So they set the process fully. So we first met with the aspirants at the constituency offices the day after yesterday, held a meeting, debriefed them on how the process is going to be. And here we are today. We started with the executive members, 21 of them. They are done. Balloting is done.
Constituency Chairman Stephen Ejari, who faces no competition, believes the party is more poised to snatch the parliamentary seat from the NPP in the next elections.
The party has become more attractive, thereby attracting this large number of aspirants. I'll urge everyone as we go into this election and that of the parliamentary candidacy to support the NDC. I can assure you that the NDC will win the 2024 parliamentary elections.
2024 NDC will win parliament and presidential in this.
Still on the NDC, the party has launched a book of its history dubbed The Administrative History of the NDC. The party says the book documents the history, the ideology and some historical facts of the development of Ghana. The book was launched in Tamale, the northern regional capital.
The main opposition National Democratic Congress is one of the many political parties in Ghana with an uncontested political history. Despite being a party with a clear history, the party has moved a step further to launch the first phase of its political history from 1992 to the year 2012. The ideology, purpose and some historical events of the party since 92 to the year 2012, including some historical facts of the political development of Ghana, was compiled by the Social Democratic Party School, which was launched by the party 5 years ago. Some of the party's bigwigs who graced the occasion included the General Secretary, Chairman, the 2022 running mate of the party, and the Minority Leader of Parliament.
I believe that there is a lot of prospect for us as a party in the future, because I keep on challenging our opponents that if we want to compare the performance of the NDC and NPP for the past 30 years since we ushered into democratic dispensation, the NDC have done far more than any other political party in the history of this country.
The General Secretary of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, said the history of Ghana can never be complete without the contribution of the NDC, which he says needs proper documentation to avoid manipulation in the future, most especially by their political opponent.
The history of Ghana will not be complete if we do not consciously write about the National Democratic Congress. Because the contribution of the NDC toward the socio-political and economic development of this country can never be wished away. Indeed, it is so enormous that Ghana's history will not be complete without adding what NDC has done.
The 2020 running mate of the party, Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, said putting the history of the party and the country together was very important and necessary to avoid distortions in the future. She said the book will take away the opportunity from unscrupulous people who try to remove the names of deserving people from the history of the party or add undeserving people.
If we left the stories to others, what would they be saying about us? What would the story be about the NDC? You tell your story so that nobody uses an apostrophe to change the hard-won reputation of others. Who are the people who fought for us through slavery? Where are they? Who should tell their story? If today we have the fortune to read our story, we should be very happy.
Still in politics, but now to the Progressive People's Party, where the party has accused the ruling NPP of messing up Ghana's economy. The party, at its 10th anniversary launch at Elmina in the Central Region, says it has what it takes to turn Ghana's economy around and asks the people to vote for the party in the 2024 elections.
It has been 10 years since the formation of the Progressive People's Party. At 8th anniversary celebration held at Elmina in the Central Region, the party blamed the ruling New Patriotic Party for the dire economic situation prevailing in the country. The party believes it is the next option to redeem Ghanaians. Speaking to Metro News, the 2020 flag bearer, Bridget Jogbanuku, said the party is poised to secure power in the next elections. She said all indicators, such as the result to seek a financial bailout by government, shows clearly that the NPP has failed to manage properly the affairs of the country.
We can tell. I think it was Kufuor was sitting in Natuaba. You can see that we are all struggling. You know, things have gone, I mean, the news is awash with the fact that we are in debt. We have to restructure our debt. The IMF is coming in. I mean, it's not rocket science. Everybody can see that we are in trouble. The one thing they run on, free SHS, is a mess. Everything is a mess. So it's not even what I will say. It's obvious to the common Ghanaian that the country is in a mess. It's been mismanaged.
The party's national chairman, Nana Ofori-Owusu, on his part accused governments of deliberately destroying Ghanaian-owned businesses, such as that of Papa Kwesi Ndum, founder of the PPP. He said several Ghanaian youth has been rendered unemployed as a result of the financial sector cleanup, an action he believes was taken as a result of hatred for owners of the affected institutions. He, however, said the PPP, when voted to power, will cause an in-depth investigation into the exercise.
If I don't speak on this matter, God will strike me dead. You came and you told us that you are doing a financial cleanup. We didn't know that your hatred for successful Ghanaians are so much so that you destroyed thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of businesses, jobs for the youth. For the youth, you destroyed families. You destroyed families. People who were breadwinners are running away from their households because they cannot put bread on the table.
Away from politics now to ECG, where many customers queued up at various offices of the ECG in the central region in their quest to purchase credits for their prepaid meters. The customers say the network challenge experienced by ECG has heavily affected them.
Some of these desperate and frustrated customers say they were in queue as early as 3 a.m. and continued to stay in the queue even amidst the rains. For several days now, the ECG has not been able to sell power to both residential and commercial customers. Customers say the impact on their businesses as well as their homes have been heavy. The ECG has announced that it has partly solved the network challenge it encountered. By that, customers can only purchase power from ECG offices only, thereby creating long queues at such offices across the country. Meanwhile, some customers say the credit they've bought are failing to reflect on their meters. Here are some customers speaking to Metro News.
The problem is that I've wasted a lot of time here, and time is money. I cannot waste my time too much to come back again and wait for another queue, because I'm paying service, I'm paying money. I'm not taking it for granted, I'm paying money for it. So what I want to do now is that when you go there, they don't want to listen to you. They are giving other people the chance to register, whilst others are standing in the rain. Others are joining long queue from morning to evening. So as for me, I need peace. This thing should not bring any chaos between Ghanaians and other people who have good mind for this nation. So if our leaders will try and work on ECG, they should try and work on it, because it is a hard thing that we are going through in this country.
Now the prepaid is too expensive. 10 days, what am I using in the house? I'm not using anything in the house. Only the lights and one fridge and television. 10 days, 50 Ghana, 10 days, 50 cities. If there is any for, they should let us know. Or it's too expensive. Otherwise, it's too expensive. They should see it for us, please. So right now, I'm coming to buy 110 to try that one too. Otherwise, the 110 will be about 20 days.
Light and something of the 5 good days. Amount for the sum. Me jume mo say efie mi manu munda mi ankasa mi dan tuntuma wi mi sa. Baba ha 3 o'clock. I'm at 3 o'clock. Ana mi ye mi sala ya ana pawe ya na mi asori wa.
It's too bad now. It's so bad. As you can see now, there's a rain coming too, and we are standing inside the rain. When the rain came now, that means we can't buy the prepaid again. Are you getting me? So they have to do any possible.
Now, Metro TV sources say ECG systems have been compromised by external sources who are currently controlling the source codes and have refused to release them to the ECG. This is the result of system crash that saw long queues at vending points and at ECG district offices. The ECG has not made any statement about the said cyber attack except a series of announcements informing the public about the technical challenge it was experiencing with the smooth operation of the prepaid system and an assurance to customers that it was working to rectify the anomaly. Metro TV understands the ECG has called for support to help resolve the problem and still working on it. Officials from the National Security and the Cyber Security Authority are working with the ECG to help restore these systems, and the company is also undertaking a comprehensive audit of its systems to find out what caused the technical failure. National Security and the Cyber Security Authority is supporting to determine what could have happened to the system and how to forestall a future occurrence of such nature and ruling out any cyber attack. Now we're trying to get to an IT expert to give us some more explanation about this alleged cyber attack, but as and when we get him, we'll put him through. But still on the ECG, the Electricity Company of Ghana is expected to hold a media briefing tomorrow to address issues with the challenges posed by the inability to vend prepaid credits at vending stations. The company says its managing director, Samuel Mahama, will speak to the system challenges and measures being taken to resolve them. In the meantime, the company says consumers can purchase credits at both vending stations. Away from the ECG, government failed to announce new cocoa prices for the 2022-23 season, which starts today. Addressing farmers in Suhum in the Eastern Region, Deputy Agriculture Minister Yao Ado said the Producer Price Review Committee is yet to agree on a new price for the new season.
Cocoa farmers have raised concerns about how much is paid them for their produce. Many have threatened to sell their lands to illegal miners if the price of cocoa is not increased. The 2021 season saw a 65 kilogram bag sold at 660 cedis, and this farmer had wanted an increase, citing the economy and the depreciating Ghana cedi. At a rally of farmers to mark the opening of a new cocoa season, Deputy Agric Minister Yao Ado said government is unable to announce a new price because the committee is yet to arrive at a figure. He, however, assured the committee is frantically working hard to ensure a new price which will be accepted by all next week. Ghana in 2020 increased prices from 515 cedis to 600 cedis, a 28% increase on the back of the implementation of the living income differential to fight farmer poverty. Ghana's neighbors, Ivory Coast, had increased farm gate price by 9% from 825 CFA to 900 CFA in the 2022 to 2023 cocoa season.
Meanwhile, cocoa farmers have raised concerns on the need for governments to pay attention to the sector. They say they live in extreme poverty and have no access to loans and scholarships despite their contribution to the country's economy.
Most of the cocoa farmers live in extreme poverty. In Ghana, for instance, it is estimated that the income gap is about 50% of the living income benchmark value. Cocoa production contributes to about 2/3 of Ghana's economy and cocoa farmers' income. In West Africa, self-employed farmers operate on small farms of less than 5 hectares with an average yield of only 400 kilos per hectare. Farmers in Dokotra in the Suhum municipality of the Eastern Region complain they do not have access to loans and cocoa scholarship for their children.
Scholarship, you can't one mile. We are not who are Bano or Bay Sanka. It is scholarship party a man on the sea. Obi walk around for Nico, where chiri, you bet Yanis or no Mona and Banaponia. Now, why, yeah, Kuku, Jumano, Yemba, and Yebida.
Inadequate road infrastructure renders the transport of the harvest more expensive and further reduces producers' revenues. In addition to this, the provision of safe drinking water and sanitation is limited in many cocoa-producing communities. Some farmers have advised their colleague farmers to desist from that act because it destroys their land and water bodies in the community.
You can't be uncomba. Can't be do an own aka. No, you know, once you film, no one at all. Who's one this we are done you. Cuckoo no say car no for cuckoo grano be do her cry. It in Becca. Now one fleck up for Naba, and send a one share akugu, and send what they are called. And to Quana they say, a banish and obey my.
Child labor is a widespread phenomenon on many West African cocoa farms, and cocoa farmers complain how child labor is affecting them.
School at 70. Now, to say, a ban or the Abasi, would they buy a Juma? Now, what can I say? Child labor.
nti ne nyinaa yɛ paasɛm nti sɛ no sika no wobɛyɛ na bebree akɔdi paa hɔ ase dɔ ne tew ne sua nyinaa ne bɔ ne nyinaa yɛ paa.
You're watching Newsbeat here on Metro Television. It's time for us to take our first break. We'll be back shortly with some more stories. Please stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, hundreds of people have walked against breast cancer in Tepa, in the Hafuano municipality of the Ashanti region. The walk was to raise awareness on Breast Cancer Month, which is marked every October.
In Ghana, breast cancer continues to occupy the first position in mortality as far as cancers are concerned. Health officials say the disease claims 2,060 lives every year in Ghana. This breast cancer advocates say could be avoided.
A lot of our women are still hiding in their homes, in the prayer camps, at the treatment centers which are not approved, the herbalist places, and they are wasting all the time. Breast cancer doesn't stay in the breast alone. Up till now, we don't know the cause of breast cancer. And so we cannot do primary prevention, but we can do secondary prevention. That is early detection and prompt action.
According to the World Cancer Society, every 19 seconds a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, and every 69 seconds a woman somewhere in the world dies from breast cancer. The 2022 Breast Care International Walk for Cure was to sensitize the public on the disease and treatment regimes. With 4,600 infections of the disease occurring every year in Ghana, government says early diagnosis is the surest way to get treatment.
We must work together to ensure that these people survive. No. Better breast care involves education and advocacy, early detection and effective treatment, supportive and palliative care, as well as relative research that will translate into improved treatments. I'm using this opportunity to encourage everyone to join us to ensure that breast care patients receive the best of care in this country, and extensive research is done to find a complete cure for the disease.
Advocates are of the view discouraging visits to prayer centers instead of hospitals will help reduce needless deaths, as about 60% of patients report to the hospital at a late stage, making it difficult to be cured. They called for the disease to be declared a national emergency.
If every year in this country we record over 2,000 deaths as a result of breast cancer, then I think it is also a disaster. So, as a disaster manager for this country, I want to take this opportunity to declare today breast cancer as a major natural disaster in this country. It is a natural disaster because I know for a fact that there's no medical institution or any medical scientist who has used any technology to determine the cause of cancer in the world.
The paramount chief of Tepa traditional area, Nana Edusei Atwenowa Ampem I, commended Breast Care International and called on both men and women to make breast examination a regular thing.
So also baby no for no who said badwa dem a but modern so baby na kwa ko hunu ya maame bitrisu afia de ya maame bitrisu afia de ya mo ba esa Ghana ban timi so na srema ne dwumadi a odie ne yenkoso nti be sre Ghana ban se ne dwumadi a odie no obomo mo design se bitima so na nan na se ne be ya dwumadi bitima yenkoso.
Walk for the Cure is the world's largest walking and running event in the fight against breast cancer. After losing her sister to breast cancer, Nancy Brinker founded the American Breast Cancer Organization. In 1983, the first race for the cure in Dallas welcomed 800 participants. Over 1 million people now gather in over 140 cities around the world to celebrate life and honor those who lost their lives due to breast cancer. The 2022 Breast Care International Walk for Cure for Breast Cancer was under the theme, Breast Cancer Won't Rest, so why should we?
Let's now talk about road safety, and the National Road Safety Authority has cautioned drivers to be more cautious on the road as we begin the last quarter of the year. Relying on data, the authority said road crashes tend to increase in the last quarter of every year.
We have also come to realize that there is a delayed response to address road safety issues among policymakers and implementers. And at our end, we try to say that is kind of a laxity or irresponsibility on the part of policymakers and implementers. Somewhere around Easter and then getting to the end of the year, you must be very, very careful. We experience a number of crashes occurring on our roads. 88% of drivers flout the speed limit in Greater Accra region, or in Accra. This must concern all of us because most of us are from Accra here. The law of physics makes it clear that crash severity increases geometrically as speed also increases. A reduction of an average of 5 kilometers per hour can result in as much as 18% reduction in the number of crashes involving fatalities. So here is a chart of a table of the relationship between speed and the chances of survival when hit by a vehicle. At a speed of 60 kilometers per hour, the survival rate of a pedestrian hit by a vehicle is just 10%. If you drop your speed to 32 kilometers per hour, the survival rate of that person have shot up to 9.
Away from that, the Communications Director of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, Abdul Razak, has called on government to prosecute officials of Akonta Mining Limited for engaging in illegal mining activities. This, he says, will serve as a deterrent to other mining companies which flout laws with impunity.
As small-scale miners, we've always been saying that the association has nothing to do, or the small-scale mining has nothing to do with forest reserves and water bodies. Because we don't have, the law does not permit us to mine in river bodies and forest reserves. But currently, this Akonta mining issue have popped up, and it is time for us to act by so doing, because Akonta mining is a large-scale company. It's not a small-scale miner. The company is a large-scale. So if only government is giving permits for large-scale companies to enter into the forest, government must act. And now that the minister himself has issued a statement or written a letter that they've not given them any permit, then the law must take its course, because they've entered there illegally and they are mining in the forest illegally. So the law of this country must take its course so that the blame game on these small-scale miners will come to bear. Because always people have been criticizing small scale, saying that we are destroying forest reserves, we are destroying the water bodies and what. Meanwhile, there's no law in this country which gives licenses for us to mine in river bodies and forest reserves. This is where always we have issues with this political will. Now that government have faulted their job, it shouldn't remain that they should go on to prosecute anybody who is culpable, because they've entered there without the notice of the Forestry Commission. They've entered there without the notice of government himself. So if government have written to show that they've not given them any permit, it's not only halting them, but they should prosecute, so that we know that, yes, it will show as a deterrent for others who are into these forest reserves and water bodies to be careful.
Away from mining, and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection says it is pushing for equality and empowerment of women and girls to transform social and gender norms that reinforce patriarchy and inequality. The ministry at a validation meeting to finalize the national framework and toolkit for men and boys on gender equality says this will push for more social inclusion.
The meeting brought together participants who dialogue on advancing gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. The meeting also enabled meaningful engagement with men and boys to transform social and gender norms that reinforce patriarchy and inequality. A speech read on behalf of the ministry by Mauto Ablo, the director of Ghana Productive and Safety Net Project, noted the need to accelerate progress on gender equality as a country. He said all forms of discrimination and violence against women and girls must be eliminated through the engagement of all stakeholders, with men and boys as advocates. The meeting attracted stakeholders, advocacy champions, supporters, and
now, the Defense Council in the Okuapeman Chieftains Dispute says the Judicial Committee of the National House of Chiefs did not call for a restart of the nomination process for a new Okuapem. He was speaking at a press conference at Ikropong.
The press conference was to correct what he calls deliberate misinterpretation and distortions of the judgment. According to him, the judgments of both the Judicial Committee of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs and the National House of Chiefs by the petitioners showed that there was no call for a restart of the nomination process for a new Okuapem. Lawyer Augustine Osafo Eje argues that Okuapem Osiadeyo Kwesi Ekufo III is and has not been party to the suit, to which judgment was delivered on September 29, 2022. He further called on Okuapeman to let peace reign and comply to the judgment.
The Queen Mother alone, it has been the case of the Queen Mother that she is the only person to nominate. It has been the Queen Mother's case that she is the only person to nominate. If she has not nominated, then no nomination shall be valid. And the finding here is that in nominating a candidate, the Queen Mother alone cannot select a candidate from the Royal House without the involvement of the Advocacy. Without the involvement of the Advocacy. So the Queen Mother has no basis, no rights, no authority. Say, Onua Kasano, Ebeko Obi say, Oba Obi Ababi.
It's now time for business news. Now in business, Dr. Parkway Syndrome has urged government to support indigenous businesses in the country. According to the businessman, no country has ever developed without the help of indigenous companies. He finds it distasteful that the Ghanaian government is helping grow foreign industries rather than building local ones.
Take firm steps to ensure indigenous Ghanaian control. And when I say control, I mean ownership, not just management or caretakers. Ghanaian control, ownership of the financial sector, banking, insurance, investment, pension, and others like these at all levels. It's a must. Why am I saying this? It's not because I've owned a bank or insurance company or investment company. No, it's not about me. It's about us, all of us. Because no country has prospered in this world by relying on foreign-owned financial institutions or the World Bank.
Now, the Ghana Revenue Authority says it is ready to flash out fake VAT invoices from the country with the introduction of the electronic VAT invoicing set to commence on October 1, that was yesterday.
The Ghana Revenue Authority says it is ready to flash out fake VAT invoices from the country with the introduction of the electronic VAT invoicing set to commence on October 1, 2022. The new initiative, which is aimed at improving revenue collection, will also help government ascertain the true income of businesses. The Commissioner General for Domestic Tax at the GRA, Edward Apentin Jamra, said the electronic system has been completed to input activities of businesses that collect VAT. This, he said, is ready to start from October 1. He further explained that the e-invoicing will capture, validate, and purely store all data in the country for VAT-registered taxpayers. The initiative will be rolled out in phases to ensure that minor challenges are addressed quickly. He added that with the support of trained staff, the GRA is hopeful that the exercise will be fruitful and effective. This will cover the large taxpayers until the end of the first quarter of 2023. Edward Apentin Jamra expressed optimism that businesses will embrace the initiative and support the GRA, rake in the needed revenue for.
That's all for business. Up next is sports news. And let's begin with the tragedy that happened in Indonesia, where at least 174 people have died in a crash at an Indonesian football match, making it the world's worst stadium disaster. About 180 were also hurt in the aftermath of home team Arimas FC's loss to bitter rivals at the overcrowded stadium late on Saturday. The crash happened after police tear-gassed fans who invaded the pitch. As panic spread, thousands surged towards the stadium exits, where many suffocated. One eyewitness told reporters that police had fired numerous tear gas rounds continuously and fast after the situation with fans became tense. Early reports put the death toll at about 130, but officials later announced a significant rise to 174, with 11 more people seriously injured. President Joko Widodo has ordered that all matches in Indonesia's top league must be stopped until an investigation has been carried out. The Indonesian Football Association said it had launched an investigation into the situation, adding that the incident had tarnished the face of Indonesian football. The Chief Security Minister, Mahfud, posted on Instagram that 42,000 tickets had been sold for the match at the stadium. That's all for sports. Up next is entertainment. And in entertainment, Black Sherif has announced a date for his debut studio album titled The Villain I Never Was.
Taking to his social media handles, Black Sherif wrote, "It took me everything to give life to this body. The one thing in my life that I gave everything up for. There's life in this body, and I hope it treats you good and speaks to you like I want it to." My debut album, The Villain I Never Was, available on all stores on October 6, 2022. The album is believed to be a 14-track album which features a number of top artists and different genres of music. Blacko, as is popularly called, has been one of the outstanding musicians in recent times from the country after bursting onto the scene some 2 years ago with the song First Sermon. He followed up with Second Sermon, and the remix featured Nigerian superstar Burna Boy. He recently released a new fan favorite titled Soldier, which is doing massively well on digital stores. Black Sherif won 4 awards at the 3 Music Awards and others at the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. He has currently been nominated for the Best International Flow at this year's BET Hip Hop Awards.
Oh, soldier, 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 stand and beat your chest. Did it come, did it come, did it come? No, me them catch you.
And congratulations to Black Sherif. Now, patrons at the launch of the Rhythms on the Runway 10th anniversary in Accra have called for more support to make it more attractive. Renowned broadcaster Kofi Otri-Dakun, who is the founder of the show, said such support will push the show to the global stage.
For 10 years, Rhythms on the Runway has created a great platform to showcase contemporary Ghanaian fashion, art, and crafts and help secure and improve job opportunities for designers, musicians, and craftsmen and craftswomen. Apart from providing employment through the promotion of various small businesses, the show has played a great part in the country's Beyond the Return calendar. Launching the 10th edition in Accra, Chief Executive of the Ghana Free Zones Authority, Michael Quay Jr., described the platform as innovative.
This is fantastic. This can compete with the various programs like the London Fashion Show, Indian Fashion Show, and all the very big ones across the world. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, Rhythms on the Runway is officially launched. Thank you very much.
Renowned broadcaster and founder of Rhythms on the Runway, Kofi Otredako, called for more support.
The BBC describes Rhythms on the Runway as the biggest cultural expose in Africa. Last year we had Deutsche Welle come cover the event. There's a lot of attention on the show and Ghana for that matter, so it's quite a challenge to have other corporate entities out of this country come in and support. But then there's a struggle to somehow get Ghanaian corporate organizations, some Ghanaian corporate organizations to support us. So please, it's our 10th year, we're going places, we're moving Ghana to the next level. Ghana, of course, is in the center of the world and all eyes need to be in the center of the world. Let's support our own.
He added that the next 10 years of the event will be more globally focused.
Well, 10 years from now, I mean, Rhythms on the Runway, as you can tell, has become a household name already, the biggest fashion and music event in Ghana. We are taking it to SA next year. We're excited.
And despite the rains yesterday, Nautica and his friends stood in and performed for thousands of students who appeared at the high school clash in Tema. Here are some highlights. And that's all for entertainment. Up next is international news.
Russia has withdrawn its troops from strategizing the Ukrainian town of Liman as Ukraine's forces have mounted a sweeping counter-attack to retake its territory in the east. Russia's defense ministry says recapturing Liman is of strategic significance for Ukraine as it will give the Ukrainian troops to assess more of their territory, Donetsk and Luhansk. Burkina Faso's power struggle continues as all roads blocked and shops closed in the capital city, Ouagadougou. Burkina Faso's self-declared leader, Colonel Ibrahim Traoré, says the man he ousted a day ago in a coup is plotting a counter-attack and accuses the French army of harboring Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba at one of its bases. But France...
And that's all for the bulletin this afternoon. Many thanks for watching. I am Desmond Okrekudans. Will be back at 7 p.m. with News 9. So enjoy the rest of our programs. It's bye for now.